Imagine if I told you that one of the most iconic horror franchises almost came to the Nintendo DS. Not as a port or a spin-off, but a brand new Silent Hill for the Nintendo DS. Now, this was a game that was actively being developed. There was a playable prototype that was available. There was footage that was recorded, but then it would disappear. No release, no announcement, just years and years of silence before a bit of footage surfaced online, making this one of the most mysterious and weird canceled DS games ever. So today I figured we would talk about the lost version of Silent Hill for the Nintendo DS. The Nintendo DS wasn't expected to become a powerhouse for horror games. At launch, many people saw it as a family-friendly handheld built around touch controls, colorful graphics, and very innovative ideas. But some developers realized those same ideas could make a very immersive horror game. As the DS library expanded, it became home to some very unsettling experiences. Developers would experiment with ghost stories, psychological horror, and atmospheric adventures that proved impressive visuals weren't required to create genuine horror and tension. They used clever sound design, very smart use of the DS's hardware, and imaginative gameplay that was so frightening. And I think this is what makes the absence of Silent Hill being on the DS very strange. Silent Hill was a series that wasn't based around jump scares or anything like that. It was based around oppressive soundscapes, psychological storytelling, very off-putting and disturbing creature design, and an overwhelming amount of isolation. I think all of those ideas were perfectly suited for the DS. Now, before we can get into the Silent Hill that was going to be on the DS, we have to understand the horror games that already existed on the DS itself. Resident Evil Deadly Silence is the first game that I can think of that really utilized the DS for a horror game experience. This was released back in early 2006. This was a reimagining of the original 1996 Resident Evil game. Rather than simply copying the PlayStation game, Capcom rebuilt many aspects of Resident Evil just for the Nintendo DS. The story was essentially the same. Members of the Elite Stars team investigate mysterious murders on the outskirts of Raccoon City before taking refuge inside the infamous Spencer Mansion. What initially appears to be a safe haven quickly becomes a nightmare filled with zombies, mutated creatures, elaborate puzzles, and hidden conspiracies involving the Umbrella Corporation. Now, even though this came out years after the original Resident Evil, a lot of the elements were still there. The long, silent hallways, the locked doors, creepy, creaking floors. You still had limited ammunition, and every decision you made mattered.